Just feel into the I am enough. Say that to yourself or say it out loud if you will. I am enough. I am perfect. I am whole. I am complete. I am on purpose. I am on fire. I am tuned into my intuition. My spirit guides me, and I am right on time. You are listening to Turn Your Soul On Radio. I am your host and visionary doctor, Dr. Brandy Victory, and my mission is to assist high-achieving women in closing the gap between feeling unfulfilled to living a life on fire. It is time, ladies, to champion our own lives and turn ourselves on. This is Living Victoriously, ladies. This is how you turn your soul on. Hey, Dr. Brandy here. And one of my favorite things to do is to help women truly enjoy their bodies, to feel healthier, to turn back the aging clock from the inside out, to enhance their energy throughout the day, and to help them feel sexier no matter what age they're in. This is all accomplished through a process that we take together, but we begin with a personalized health assessment that identifies your toxicities and your deficiencies and the spiritual and emotional blocks that may be getting in your way of you living your own life on fire. And what I've found is that there's always room for optimizing your life, regardless if you're a career woman at the top of your game, a mom who has kids leaving the nest, or an athlete that feels that he's at peak performance. There is always room for optimization. And if you're interested in learning how to optimize your own life and would like to see if you're a good fit to work with me one-on-one, there are a few spots that I've opened up, and I wanted to make this available to my listeners of the Turn Your Soul On Radio community first. So if you'd like to apply, head on over to my website, drbrandyvictory.com/activate. That's ACTIVATE. drbrandyvictory.com/activate, and that's Brandy with a Y. And fill out the form. You'll be given an opportunity to connect with me, and we can have a deeper conversation to see if it's a good fit. So thank you so much for being a part of the Turn Your Soul On Radio community, and I looked forward to the potential of going forward on your wellness journey with you. Hello, love warriors. Today, let's talk a little bit about love. Like, where does it come from? I have been kind of chewing on that for a couple of days. Like, where does love come from? That's kind of an interesting question, right? And I want to jump into a conversation with you. So just take a minute and take a deep breath and sit back and relax into this episode. And before we get started, I just want to thank our sponsor, Purium Superfoods. And today I want to just share with you a really cool product that Purium has, and it's called Focus. And this is for anyone who wants to focus better in their life, but where I've really seen the greatest changes is in children. So children with ADD or ADHD, children who are on the autism spectrum, and those kids that are just bouncing off the walls. It's amazing. They just take this stuff and their life changes. It's awesome. So anyway, Focus at Purium Superfoods. You can get a couple of bottles for yourself. If you haven't tried any of the Purium stuff yet, I'd recommend you just go do that. Go to ishoppurium.com. That's ishoppurium.com. ishoppurium.com. And look up the product Focus, INFOCUS. It might be 2 words. Yeah, and check it out. And if you want to check it out for your kids or your family or yourself, my boyfriend takes it all the time. He loves it. You can use my $50 gift card and just get you a couple bottles and see how it works. With their products, there's a 60-day money-back guarantee, so it doesn't matter if you use the product or not. If you don't like it, you can always get your money back, so you really can't lose. And the gift card code for my listeners is Dr. Brandy. That's DRBRANDY. So go on over there. And then if you do that, please let me know how it goes. I really love the feedback to make sure that what I'm promoting is working for the world, or if it's not working for you, maybe there's another direction I can point you in. So love it. Good. So let's talk about love. All right. So as I continue to live, I've been just realizing that I can't not continue to deepen my love. Like the love that I'm feeling in my life right now for certain things and the people I love, it's so much deeper and richer than it's ever been. So, I was just like, wow, if this is true, like where am I going to be in 5 years with my ability and my depth of my love? Or even 10 years or 20 years or 50 years. Like, wow, what's that going to be like to be in my 90s and have 50 more years of exploration of the depth of love? Oh my gosh, can't be anything but amazing. And it also means that love is infinite. Love is infinite. Like it keeps continuing to grow no matter what. I don't think you get like, okay, I made it to the top. I'm at my fullest love forever and ever, and it's never going to grow again. Like that's not going to ever happen, right? Yeah. And it just like seems if we can just let go of the ego's need for control and the self-centered desires and relax into what is, it opens up space for beauty to unfold all around you. It allows you to feel the whisper of nature on your cat's breath or in your cat's purr. You can actually feel the love of the great one in the rustle of the leaves, the bloom of a flower, in the flow of water, whether it be in a creek or even from your tap. Isn't it just amazing? Like we actually even have water. It's so crazy cool because life is perfect. Like there's nothing missing. And we have like the 5 elements, right? What if there was no water? What would we do? Like we wouldn't be able to even live. Like it just wouldn't be a part. So like everything is here that we need that makes up life. I mean, we have these cool little pets, right? We have our cats and our dogs. It's not like we have a whole bunch of different pets. Like we don't really need anything beyond a cat and a dog, right? But we have a cat and we have a dog and they have their own ways, right? The dogs can be trained to help people who are blind. Like there's blind dogs that lead the blind. There's dogs that help prevent people from going into diabetic coma. Like these animals can be trained to care for those people who need them, right? And if we look around in nature, absolutely nothing is missing. And since everything is a reflection of everything, that means that nothing is missing in you. Yet so often we tell ourselves stories that there's not enough, or we're not enough, or that you're broken, or that something's wrong with you. And those stories perpetuate the experience. Your thoughts create. So when you're thinking those thoughts, you keep recreating that experience, but that's your own consciousness and your ego telling you stories rather than your deeper self, your observer self, your higher self, being in touch with that and recognizing the truth that you are enough, there is enough, nothing is missing, and you're whole and complete. Nature doesn't tell these kinds of stories to itself, even as the tree is dying or the blooms are fading, it's not going, oh man, I'm fucked up, something's wrong with me. It just knows that there's inherent perfection in the cycle of life, which means there is inherent perfection within you. And take a deep breath. And just really feel that. Feel that truth. Feel that yesness inside yourself that knows that you're whole, perfect, and complete, just like you are. And even if you're unable to really feel that, then you simply have a deep-rooted false belief that you've chosen to own that causes you to see life through the lens of limitation or through the lens of something is wrong with me. And simply by having this awareness, you can choose to take those rose-colored glasses off. It's literally a choice to feel less than. It's a choice to feel not enough. And it is a choice to feel fabulous about your life and who you are and what you're doing in the world, right? So now is your time. You get to take those rose-colored glasses off. You get to make a new choice for yourself. And you get to figure out what it feels like to live your freaking life on fire, because you do not have to keep doing that. Choosing to feel on purpose and fabulous and enough will actually facilitate you making new choices and actions that will prove to yourself this truth. It's just like if you're telling yourself, I'm not enough, it's going to be proven to you that you're not enough. If you tell yourself you are enough, guess what? It's going to be proven to you that you are enough. One of the things that I tell every single patient to do, especially if we're working on shifting their consciousness, is to pay close attention to how things are showing up in your life that prove your new storyline. So if your storyline that you're moving into is I am enough, my life is perfect, I am whole and complete, then what you're going to do is you're going to look for the things that prove to you that you are enough, that you are perfect, and that you're whole and complete. Now, I'm not saying things aren't going to come into your experience or your awareness that may look opposite of that, because maybe you have someone in your life who is a downer. Like if you have a Debbie Downer friend in your life and you're like, my life is perfect, I'm whole and complete. And then you go get in Debbie Downer's vibration and she's going to project her downerness on you. And you're going to feel that. And it's going to be a struggle, especially if you love Debbie Downer. Like if she's a lover or if she's a very good friend or a family member that you spend time with, it's time for you to recognize how these people are affecting your life. And it's time for you to recognize that the deep impact that it has on your psyche and your ability to hold your own power. Because maybe it's in your highest interest to not hang out with people who do that. Or maybe it's in your highest interest to hang out with people who do that, and it proves to you you do have the strength to overcome their downerness. Maybe you can recognize how much love that you have in yourself for certain people, maybe your child or your sister or your brother or for God or for life itself. And just feeling into that, like feeling the depth of love that you have for that particular person or God. And that's something you can feel just incredibly great about, right? You can feel great that I love this deeply. Like it's an awesome thing to be able to do that. And think about what it has taken to get yourself to that place where you can like feel love this deeply. I imagine it's been a process, because as we grow and heal and we deepen our connection to ourselves and to God, then there's expansion in our heart space, which allows for deeper love. And so when you can realize what it's taken for you to get yourself here, you can also see that you have the potential for so much more greatness, so much more love, so much more depth. Like that is there for you. It's not going to stop. Like you have come so far, and you'll have so much more that you get to grow into, which is so freaking awesome and exciting. So trust your love. And for a minute, just take a second and think about that person that you love and just feel that depth. And imagine if they were in some kind of trouble or, they were threatened in some way. What would you do for them? Like, what would you really do for them if someone was going to steal them away or stab them with a knife or take your child and do bad things and whatever? I mean, you would rise up. You would become Mama Bear. You would become a force. You would become what my friend says. She calls it hulking, Hulking, hulking. I just learned that term this past weekend. But when she gets into that place, that she turns into a monster, and her husband is like, "You're hulking again," But you would do that, right? Because your love is so freaking deep. As a matter of fact, we're putting together, a group of us are putting together a retreat that we're going to be holding in 2020. And Roger, my partner, he's going to be there doing this piece of this workshop that we've done together in the past. And it's essentially where he becomes the threat to the women in the group. And it just, when I see this unfold, it's the most beautiful thing, because most women don't realize their power. They really don't realize their strength and their power and their ability to do whatever it takes. Like, we just don't. And this exercise that he takes women through really awakens that in every single woman. And they just rise up and they become like a beast within themselves. And it's just gorgeous. It's so, so gorgeous. Now, I want you to just kind of notice that depth of that love for that person or that being or that thing. And I want you to also turn that back on yourself and look at yourself and the love that you give yourself and ask, am I giving myself this much love? Can I give myself this much compassion and trust? Like, this is a really important concept, because if you're not capable of giving yourself that much love, compassion, and trust, guess what? You're not going to be able to give anyone else that much love, compassion, and trust. You might think you can, but it's going to be limited, because you're not going to be serving yourself. It'll be for something else from an egotistical perspective. And so when you get to that place where you can look at yourself and give yourself so much love and compassion and grace and trust and just fulfill yourself with that, then you'll be able to extend it out. It has to arise within you first. And you deserve it. Like, you totally deserve to be loved and to be love. And until you're capable of loving yourself, you cannot expect anyone else to love you as deeply as you desire to be loved. Like, you have to create the space for that love to dive into from another being. So yes, give it to yourself and just do it. Just do it. Just like whatever it takes. Take yourself to that level. Like, give yourself some love every single freaking day. And then also notice when you slip back into the I'm not enoughness. Just notice. And this is where the compassion comes in, right? Like, it's no judgment. You're not, oh man, I lost it. Or, oh man, I'm not very good at this. I can't do this. I'm, whatever storyline you make up. Don't do that. Just don't. Just notice. Oh, here I am again. I'm not really giving myself that love, or I'm not trusting myself, or I'm not giving myself compassion, And then ask yourself, what is this about? And as soon as you recognize it, look around and allow yourself to see your enoughness. All right. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Like, if you believe you're enough, things are going to show up in your life to prove to you you're enough. If you believe you're not enough, things will show up in your life to prove that you're not enough. And what happens is sometimes we get confused and we forget that we're enough, and we start to believe the storylines of the things that we're not enough about, right? And so then that has to be an understanding that you're recognizing the I'm not enoughness that's showing up in your life. Like, it's a choice. It's a choice. And you have the ability to turn that choice around and recognize the I am enoughness. As a matter of fact, if you are like really struggling, right, you can just go outside and be with nature and just look at nature and notice the enoughness everywhere. Nature does not lack ever. Maybe the pine beetle is going to kill all the pine trees in Colorado, and it's making space for the new aspen groves that will arise, right? So there's always enough in nature. And then just noticing that in nature and noticing the perfection there, and then the knowing that this too is a reflection of you. Everything is a reflection of everything. And if you can see the perfection and the enoughness in nature, then you have to know that it's in you too, because you are a part of nature. So just feel into that experience right now. Just feel into the I am enough. Say that to yourself, or say it out loud if you will. I am enough. I am perfect. I am whole. I am complete. I am on purpose. I am on fire. I am tuned into my intuition. My spirit guides me, and I am right on time. Yes. Take a deep breath. Let that land in your body, ladies. Oh, yeah. Good stuff. I love this stuff. I love this stuff. Yes. All right, Mama. All right, so I'm going to leave you with that. I'm just going to let you be with your enoughness and your amazingness and your perfection and your gorgeousness and your beauty and your radiance and your joy and your happiness and your yesness. And do whatever it takes to turn your soul on. Thank you for tuning in to Turn Your Soul On Radio. If you're finding yourself living a more inspired life because of this show, help spread the light. Share this episode with every woman you know looking to live their lives a little more on fire. I'd also be grateful if you headed over to iTunes and left a heartfelt review, which really helps the growth of the show. I'd also like to invite you to deepen your connection with our community by joining our private Facebook group, Turn Your Soul On. And if you have any other questions, feel free to shoot us an email at admin@drbrandyvictory.com. Thanks so much for being here today, and I'll talk to you next time. May your soul be turned on.
This podcast is for information purposes only. Dr. Brandy Victory is not a medical doctor, and the views and statements expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Dr. Brandy Victory and the producers, disclaim responsibility from any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.